I don't know that I'm going to really continue with this because I've sort of hit the limit of my skills and maybe my patience to a certain extent. But I had fun with this stuff, so I wanted to show this community. I don't know, just for fun, I guess. Sort of a looter shooter or whatever. I don't know, genres. A lot of the stuff is just stock. This dungeon environment I didn't make. These little treasure things I didn't make, they're just stock. But I set up a kind of like collection thing where you could collect items and put them in a kind of resell box that would work for weapons as well as these treasure items. So like I just threw in some magazine or clip or whatever. I had set up a bunch of different systems, or started to, I should say, like the backpack, this style that people have probably seen around, where you can put items in it. Things collide somewhat properly. It doesn't let you put it in there if it's not lined up inside in the right way. There are limits to what you can actually put in there, so you can put these little health things in there, but you can't put like something that's too big. Handguns won't go in there. And you can wear it, and it's on. One of the things that I sort of gave up on, which I probably wouldn't be that hard to fix, is just like the shadow or the collisions don't work super well with it, just because I don't have it set up right. There we go. I was trying to find a shadow, so you can see it. I am wearing it, but it does interfere with collisions to a certain extent. Same with stuff like this helmet. I can put it on, but it does, like I can't walk properly. I think it's really touchy. So collisions don't totally work. I'll show the helmet later. With the helmet, there's an oxygen gauge. And by the way, the gauges are probably showing up in the middle of the screen. They're off to the side in the VR version, but they show up in the middle for some reason in the flat version. One of them is the health, and then one of them is oxygen. I had started to set up maybe a gameplay system where there would be sections without air or without breathable air, so you had to put the helmet on. And I was trying to come up with a way of getting these like oxygen bottles so that you could refill your air. And I had this like hose system that I was starting to play with to try and connect, but it was just really inconsistent. It wasn't totally working properly, so I sort of gave up on it. But I had started this sort of like springy attachment thing, but as you can see, like it's not perfect. So I couldn't quite get it to the point where it was usable. We've got things like lockers that do spawn random items. Got these drawers that spawn random items in them. I'll show off a couple of the guns. They're all the guns are custom. None of them are downloaded. They're mostly sort of like kit bash stuff and stuff that I've designed. So like this little pistol thing here. This is the crappiest one. You can see like on the handle, there's some tape on it. So I was pretty happy with that, like that, how that works. And you can sort of close it, but it's not perfect. I didn't bother setting up the physics system with the hand, like with the VRExpansion plugin. I just hadn't done it yet. There's another, just a handgun. It's a little bit larger. And it does have a part. So part of what I hadn't really optimized yet is like the. It's really hard to adjust at this point. Take care of this guy. I kind of like these guns. So those guys are custom. They've got their own like kind of placeholder animate. They're basically test guys. We'll go out there in a little bit. So yeah, I sort of like this gun. All the sounds are custom. I really like this gun as well. Like the way that you can actually just go back at it. So yeah, those guys are custom made. So if I think this is empty, and then I can take the spare clip in the back, slam that shut. There are some holsters that I never messed with the lineup, so like that doesn't line up. There's also one for the chest guns. Let's see, can I grab this? Yeah, so like I said, collisions are not, oops, stay there, totally set up properly. But there's a chest holster. Again, the collisions are weird. Some of the weapon combinations, if you get one here and one in the chest, the locomotion stops working properly. There's this gun, not textured. This one, I guess it's textured. And then this one. I kind of stopped working on the shotguns just because I was having a lot of issues with that. But it's a pump, and it's part of the problem is like that you can see they've got the green sphere for collision. If I grab it in the wrong spot, I can't actually pump it. I've got to grab it really carefully in the, I don't know, pump handle, and then I've got to hold the trigger down to actually pump it, which is kind of fine and kind of cool, but it does make it harder to move and reload at the same time. Because if I need to reload while I'm moving, it's the left controller starts to get overwhelmed. I almost have to I mean I can do it, but it's a little bit awkward, which I don't know, I suppose there's like a learning curve for it or something then. So all this part of the environment is all custom. I mean, most of it's sort of like placeholder, and you can see it's like a lot of AI generated textures that I just turn into normal maps. They don't look that great, but just to sort of see what the space might look like. So all these textures are custom, and all this, it's just wall geometry. There's not really much to it. These crates were from sci-fi film, short film that I made. So there's all these lockers that spawn random stuff in them. Sometimes if they spawn weapons, that shows up through the back here. So obviously, again, it's like collisions I haven't really messed with. There we go. I've got to grab that just right. Okay, so probably in the middle of the screen somewhere, I don't even know where it's going to show up on the there. So my health is getting a little lower, and there's a post-process volume that like darkens. It turns more red as the health gets lower. So I think I saw a health thing over here. The more I started to make stuff, the more fun it was to generate interactions. So I think if I ever made any more weapons, I would probably make them more interactable. Like especially for VR, that seems like that's the thing that's the most fun. Oh shit! Step on it. So these health things, like to make them work, you gotta shake them. And then there's a sound that says they're powered up. And then you've got to open the one end. And you've got to find the right angle, so it's not really great yet. And then you can plug it in into your wrist. Again, this has also got collision issues. So as it's charging, you can see it charged at my health. But as it's charging, sometimes you can't move because there's weird collisions that are like interfering with stuff online. So yeah, the flashlights, I was trying to figure out like how could I've got it just changing the color of the light right now, but I was trying to think of like maybe there's some sort of UV thing that some mechanic that might be fun with the way that those would function. I just never really got to it. Remember that there's a hole in the floor. So again, those gauges that are probably appearing in the middle of the screen, one of them is health, the other is oxygen. So if I come out to where there's no air, the health slowly drains. It's like a coughing sound effect, I guess. But if I put a helmet on, then like this helmet was partially charged, so you can see that purple color is the like oxygen, and it's slow. If I stood here for a long time, it would slowly drain out. So again, I was trying to come up with a gameplay mechanic with those tanks, and you have to recharge the helmet if you need to go outside or whatever. But again, I couldn't quite figure out how to turn the collision of the helmet off. I'm sure it wouldn't be a big deal to do it. I just sort of stopped working on it because like I have an actual job and other things I'm supposed to be doing. But anyway, I spent a lot of time on this stuff, so I wanted to share. Yeah, that's it.